my God, this is very exciting.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It has. I think that Joe Rogan likes to start with a cheers. So
I like that. Cheers guys. Yeah,
it's been
gentlemen.
hard to get you guys together.
Yes, Josh, cheers, man.
We need pandemics for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks,
We should have
Josh.
another one.
For those of you listening, Josh just spent the latter half of 2 days setting up. So we're excited to get going here.
He's put in a lot of work.
He certainly has. And we're here with the Know Nothing podcast. It's been a while. I have several secret episodes never released. We're just building anticipation. What can I say? I have myself, Daniel Hollick, host, alongside my fellow friends here, Justin and Randall. And we're here to talk about a lot, actually.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about some serious things, like what happens when you...
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, the anticipation is killing me.
I'm waiting for you to say it.
Oh, die.
Thank you.
What happens when you die?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Just what do you
philosophy.
think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
It's, you know what, man? It's $1 million question. I have no idea. I can't even guess.
Okay.
Well, for the sake of the show.
For the sake of- what happens when you die? I don't know. I really don't know. I have no. What happens when you die?
I was
man?
watching
Theory.
There's a
Like
there's a
theories.
video that I was watching, and the guy basically he was asked on like Conan or Jimmy Kimmel or something, and they were like, "What happens when you die?" And he was like, "I don't think our minds can comprehend what happens when we die. We think that we know. We think that we can theorize, but realistically, our own consciousness is an enigma."
Well, that's beautiful.
Speaking of
That's
enigmas.
actually
Big.
that's actually cool because when you think about it, you die. When you mean die, you mean physical, like when your physical body dies.
Yeah.
Your consciousness.
Let's define death, shall we?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's just say death is the death of physical body.
Yeah.
Meaning heart stops, brain stops producing waves and things of such nature. So you're deceased as clinically deceased as the hospital would
I'd
say.
like to believe that
Time of death.
I'd like to believe beep beep beep.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that maybe that there's an energy, a consciousness that goes somewhere else, and from there I have no idea where it goes or what happens from then. Maybe you're born again. Who fucking
So you believe
knows?
in reincarnation?
Fuck, I don't really know what I believe when it
Well,
comes
you must
to
have a thought. Like, what do you think? What does Justin think
You have
happens
to
when
have
you die?
at least one.
Yeah, you have to take your best go. What about you, Randy? Let Justin think about his answer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jeez.
I think
On to the
it's-
nuclear war.
It's very like it's comforting to think of like a heaven,
Yeah.
which is I think
Are you first of all, are you religious at all? Or spiritual, or you believe in
spiritual.
Baptized?
I definitely no.
Scientologist?
No,
Yes.
not baptized.
No. No, I think there's something. I don't know what. But it feels like there's something.
There's a name for that sort of thing, isn't there, Josh?
Agnostic.
What's it called? Agnostic?
Agnostic.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like something you say when you sneeze.
You know, I did actually.
Agnostic.
I did a quick little Google search, and it shows that
Apparently.
currently, right now, there are over 4,000 active and recognized religions in the world. So 4,000 different belief systems.
Who's recognizing these? Who's the authority on that?
I
That's-
mean,
that
hey,
is-
man.
That's a good. That's a good question.
Yeah,
Who's
perhaps
the regulatory body that's
perhaps Wikipedia
Yeah.
or
putting a
Google or
stamp of
something.
approval.
Yeah.
That's
Just
a lot,
a lot of different belief systems, a lot of worldviews, a lot of denominations.
A lot
what
of
have you.
people
So
that can't all be right.
I think exactly. Yeah, someone's wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I think.
me,
What do you
I'm
think,
not
Dan?
wrong.
What do you think, man? What's your take when we die?
I think that it's a very fascinating question. I think my personal belief is that it's most likely your consciousness somehow does transcend your body. I was talking to Randy
Most likely.
about this. Yeah, most likely. I
How
think.
so?
Likeliness
Well,
means
the idea is one day you just came into being, right? You came from nothing, essentially.
Okay.
You could argue
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah,
Like at
yeah.
some point you can think back to the earliest memories you have.
Yeah.
And then go before that. What is
There's
there?
just
Nothing.
darkness, blackness. Yeah, nothing.
So if you can come out of nothing, one might argue that perhaps your consciousness was already like here somehow. I don't know.
And you think that's the most likely?
I think that if you want to look at it one of two ways, you can either look at it as look at religious texts or the oldest sort of teachings and what they say about death, or you can look at what science is saying about it based on near-death experiences and what happens. People come back to life when they've been dead and these things that they see and say. Or you can, what's going on with people that are speaking to other people like this, like Mom's a medium, or what's that guy's name that looks like Macaulay Culkin? You haven't heard of him?
No.
Tyler something or other, I think his name is. Josh, can you check that out?
Tyler Perry?
No, Tyler Perry is
That's the only Tyler I know.
Is a actor, producer, or something.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a director, maybe. Definitely doesn't look like Macaulay Culkin either.
Oh,
No.
beats me. Or
But
your brain
that's
creates consciousness.
Have you heard of that in general? Have you heard of these individuals that speak to?
Mediums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That speak to the dead. Don't buy it. You buy it.
Fuck.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Yeah. No.
No.
I don't think
You think
so.
it's all an
No.
act?
I don't know, man. There's something.
Well,
Hey,
have you seen? Ever seen?
Okay, you
one?
know what? Okay, you know what? I
You
take
do
it back.
tarot
I take it
card
back.
readings.
I take it back because.
So you do.
Okay, well, see, here's
He doesn't
yeah.
wanna
There's
say
a
it,
potential.
Henry what?
It's Tyler Henry.
Tyler Henry. There we go.
Tyler Henry. So
Also Perry Henry.
my bro
It was an E.
my actually just went to a psychic of sorts, and she somehow was able to share some information that he had never shared with anyone in the world. And
disclose
and yeah, I mean, she's something along the lines of, your father's thinking of you when you're in your car crying, and his father had passed away years ago, and it's just like, I've never told anybody that I sit in my truck, and that I get emotional. I shouldn't be saying this. I'm sorry. Sorry, dude. Either way, there's some weird tapping into information. I don't know how.
But there's a way, and like, I'm not saying that I don't believe in any of this stuff. I'm just saying that there's an argument against all of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like the psychics, like
Yeah.
she could hear anything, right? Like she could, she could ask a question and she can infer, maybe not like, I mean, how old is he?
He's around our age.
Okay.
Mid-30s.
30s, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, to assume that a parent has passed away might be a bit of a stretch, but like she could, if you're like, oh, you let it slip that you have a difficult time dealing with emotions, then it could be a reasonable assumption to assume that you cry in the only time that you are alone.
That's a jump, though.
Well,
Yeah, but
I will
everybody-
say this. I will say that what he's describing is called cold reading. Cold
Okay.
reading is where essentially they're picking up on, and they're trained to do this.
Subtleties.
Like it's like they lead you through certain.
So
pieces of
you're
information.
talking more like,
asking questions.
Hey, I have your
for
grandfather
hints.
here. He wants me to tell you that
Yeah,
he
and
loves
what's
you a lot.
here's the thing
Yeah.
that gets me about those sorts of things. Right. Oh my god. But here's the thing about that is like it's almost always something about the
want to.
deceased direct
Yeah.
parent or grandparent where
Yeah.
there's an emotional thing. It's like there's a man here. Does that make sense? to you?
Right,
Yeah.
right,
It's
yeah.
an older man.
It's yeah.
You start filling in the blanks, right?
Yeah.
This goes
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
Magic Box
My
every
dad.
time.
Yeah.
Where your
That's
brain
who it
is like
is.
filling in things.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a sec, how would you know there was a passed away man?
Mm-hmm.
Those things are, you know what, from what I've seen, I've watched a lot of them, I'll be honest with you, especially Macaulay Culkin over there. And I don't buy it at all. No. I more buy the channels that are channeling aliens than I do that. Because
Yeah.
at least with those, they get into very specific, strange things. Whereas these things are always very limited and there's never a dialogue.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I think someone's saying this and saying that. And I'm sort of like, there's no conversation.
Right.
It's just you interpreting randomness that people could potentially buy into. I don't take away from the fact that people might pick up energy or vibes or things like that. But when we talk about like a specific person, like your deceased family is somehow communicating right now
You're right.
to this person.
Yeah.
He's highly unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Don't mean to
Yeah, I
hate
get
on
that.
it for anyone that's had an experience that. I can just say that I'm limited in my experience with doing it. I've never done that. I've never asked someone to do it on me, but they, oftentimes they'll do something where they start, he starts scribbling on something while he does it. It's like this, it's almost like a nervous energy. How do I get people to think of something else while I do this? I don't know.
I feel like I'm like so skeptical, but if I went to one, I would be like, I would drink the Kool-Aid so fast.
You know what? That's the thing
'Cause,
too.
like,
Have you ever been to a palm reader or a
I
psychic?
certainly
No, but
have.
I'm really
You have?
gullible.
Yes,
I've
I
done
have
it.
not. Yeah. I
Many
feel
times.
like if I did,
I feel like
I'd
you would
probably-
believe them
I'd be
immediately.
sold in a second.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
Like, oh
I
my
would
god,
do.
I'm becoming a psychic.
Yeah. I'd be like, I think I can hear him.
You know what is interesting is if you kind of just read the basics on that cold reading, almost anyone can do it. I'm not kidding. There's a reason that business exists. And I just don't like people that like prey on individuals who truly like think they're getting something from their deceased family. I think that's a little much. There's other things you can play along with psychic. Like, why do they have to be family?
Maybe they could argue that they're.
And why is no family
having
member
people
ever
with
saying
closure.
bad things? Why is it always nice things?
Your
Why is it
grandma
always
says
someone
she
who
sees
like
you
is happy
jerking
and letting
off.
go of it? Yeah, your grandma's
She's
tired of
disgusted
you.
at what you're watching.
Tired of you spitting on your hand.
Yeah.
Use the lotion. Fuck.
Oh. So okay,
That would be funny.
4,000.
Imagine opening up a mind reading, like a psychic booth at like the CNE, and you're like, you say that shit to people. That'd be so much fun.
It would be.
They would fucking probably be
I'm
really
gonna
upset.
get it done. I'm gonna get it done.
Yeah, that's a good.
Let's do it.
You know, like just for laugh gags.
Yes.
That's what that would be.
Yeah,
good at.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
yeah.
very vulgar.
Yeah.
Well, they
yeah,
actually
yeah.
had a commercial some time ago
need to
where
write
it
that
was
down.
behind the curtains, and they did have what people thought were a psychic, and behind the curtains was a big number of staff working on the internet.
Yeah.
And they were
Trying to
feeding
get
him information.
Yeah.
They were feeding the psychic information through his headpiece. And he was blowing people's minds, and they were just like, Facebook, whatever,
Yeah.
Anything
about
they
the
could
person.
get,
And
yeah.
they could
Your
just,
brother,
yeah, right.
Jeffrey.
So I mean,
yeah. Who just had a baby.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, who posted on Facebook,
Yeah.
love life and my life.
Yeah.
Was it just your birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, with all that being said, I think the answers about communication with spirits and things like that. I honestly find it hard to believe that we communicate with entities or spirits that aren't somehow fabricated, but unless they're interdimensional beings, which are not us, like not people when they die.
What about a
That's a
Ouija
whole other-
board?
What about it? Experience with it? You?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You're
I don't know
going
if
straight to hell.
I don't know if one of the people that I did it with like moved it, or if it was like, you're like,
You ever done it by yourself and it goes nowhere?
well, yeah, but you're not supposed to because that
See, I've been
doesn't
waiting for
count.
this. What do I have to do to stimulate the demon?
You need two people.
It's not moving. Mom!
Yeah.
No, I'm not arguing with that.
Yeah.
But the rules are you need two.
You know what? They're creepy. They're creepy because of the thought of like...
Okay, so
some
do you believe in
magical
ghosts?
So
See, if-
I think
We could all agree
ghosts... Yeah.
to not move it. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
We could all agree to not.
should
move
do it live right now.
Do a Ouija board, and then if it moves, then we know.
I don't have one here, but we could make one and do the,
Okay, ghosts.
So Milton Bradley, I think, makes the Ouija boards, right? They make like other games like checkers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ghosts don't move my checkers, so why is it the Ouija board that? They
Yeah,
make?
right.
Because it's only one hand on it.
Yeah, must be the shape of the guitar pick with the little globe thing on it.
It's,
Blessed.
Perhaps.
I don't. Yeah, maybe.
Cut.
Fuck.
So, yeah. Anyways, back where we were on the Ouija board there. I actually, Ouija boards are fascinating. They do have a creepy thing. I wouldn't recommend it just because I think people can really work themselves up.
Oh,
I haven't done it since I was a kid.
Same.
Yeah. I saw one at like one of those thrift stores, and it gives you a little bit of a weird vibe, but I think that's all like programmed shit.
You know what would be
from your
fucking
childhood.
cool if Jumanji was real?
I agree with that. I would pay top dollar for a real Jumanji.
Fucking badass.
Yeah. What happens if you die in Jumanji though? You can clearly get stuck in the game as Robin Williams did in that movie, right?
Yeah. Great. Great.
Great movie. The original, not the new ones.
I haven't seen
and
the
The
ones
Rock.
with The Rock. Yeah,
No good.
Yeah.
We
Jumanji
got off
would
topic
be cool
there.
to
Let's
live
not
in.
get on Jumanji.
Yeah.
So
Ghosts?
anyway, what happens when you die?
Ghosts.
Ghosts. You turn into a ghost. Casper.
No. Let's clip it on ghosts here for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't believe in ghosts in the way that ghosts are portrayed by Hollywood. So what I mean by that is like people die and your spirit comes back and haunts like your spirit. No, I don't believe that.
That's fair.
Have you ever seen anything that you can't explain, like
One time,
like a
yeah.
ghost? Yeah.
One time. I was
Yeah.
a kid though, so like,
Well-
does it exist? I don't think so.
Go in.
Maybe the Mandela
I mean, it's
effect.
pretty simple. It's nothing too intense. But
Well, tell us about it.
okay. I was basically so in my my parents' old house. There's like the hallway that goes like this way, and then my room was here. My sister's room was here, and my door was open. And we had a closet, like it was like a pantry closet where we kept like Tylenol and Advil and Percocets and stuff. And then I saw like a black figure, like it looked like a man, like a slim build, 185 pound, 5'10", maybe 5'11", walk into
Very
the pantry
specific.
closet. That was it.
Into the
The
pantry.
black
So,
figure walked into the closet.
Yes.
Is it a shadow?
Yeah.
Most
Shadow
looked
man
like a shadow.
figure,
It's
yeah.
shadow man. Yeah.
It's okay.
Shadows are often cited as like a ghost type thing. Like
Yeah.
shadow figures. Yeah.
Yeah. Mind you,
It's kind of creepy sounding.
as a kid,
Like antimatter.
yeah, like when I don't know if I was like sick at this point, but when I would get like sick, like a fever or something, and I would get over it, I would hallucinate stuff.
That's pretty cool.
That was intense.
You were chirping.
You
Oh
again?
my God,
Anything?
it's
Any
tripping
ever
hard.
see like something you can't explain?
Ghost wise,
Spirit-wise,
not really.
ghost-wise, yeah.
I've had like weird like heebie-jeebie type things. but
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
You
Like,
know, where
ooh, someone's
you're
watching me,
creepy. Yeah, you're
fucking-
creeped out with vibes. But I don't. I think you can be creeped out. Doesn't mean it's a ghost.
Yeah.
And
Do you
don't
know
get me
anyone
wrong,
who's seen
I've been
anything?
obsessed with the paranormal, so I've been down that road like looking for ghosts. I'd called them out a few times. I've never
Yeah.
gone as far as ghost
Used to
hunting.
ghost.
Yeah.
No, not like
Fucking
not
Ghostbusters.
official ghost hunting. Like creepy situations. I've been like, if you're here, like, let's go. Like,
Show yourself.
like let's hit the switch. Yeah. I'm like, come on, let's talk. I'm like, give me something.
Yeah.
Give me a flicker.
Yeah.
Give me a drawer open.
Yeah.
You know,
it is
and
frustrating that they
I look
never
around
do it.
and I'm like, they always want to fuck with me. They do nothing. They're all a bunch of ghosts hiding behind me. Like in Mario, you know, when you turn away and the ghost
Yeah.
comes
Yeah,
at you, and
yeah.
you look at it and it just stops. And I'm like, I feel like that's what happens to me every time I go in my basement.
What a genius
So
game. Way
I
ahead of its
have
time.
never seen anything.
No?
Personally, never. No.
All right,
But-
so you've not seen anything?
No.
I've not seen anything? Shadow figure when he was
But-
hallucinating from a fever.
But my
As a
sister
child.
is very familiar, still to this age in her life. She has many stories where she can. Dude, I know.
I'm just-
I get it. No, I get it.
Was she also on the heavy fever?
No,
yeah.
no heavy fevers, no heavy nothing. I think it's one of those things that, like, you know, it could be, maybe a gift or something that maybe you're just a little more attuned to something.
There's some interesting thoughts about that.
Yeah, like maybe
Jeremy
maybe
Corbell talks.
some people are just, you know, attuned
JC, what up?
differently to see further dimension. Who knows? Because you know, maybe it could be dimensions. Maybe it's not a ghost necessarily.
fair
Maybe
point,
you're
yeah.
sort of seeing into just a different reality that's actually there, but that's just we can't.
Yeah,
see.
so
You know,
I'm
who fucking
open to
knows,
that
right?
more of that
Yeah.
sort of thing, like
Yeah.
multi-dimensional interaction of beings. I find it harder to believe there's a specific like
That is a past
Ghost
deceased
realm?
person.
like yeah, a dead person is energy.
I just
is
think of
in
being the
room.
dead person and like, man, would that ever suck? Like, are
Oh
you
my
just
God.
trapped
So I heard
wandering
a theory.
forever?
I heard theories because, like I said, I read up on it quite a bit. There's a couple interesting things to point out. One is that you've heard of electric voice phenomenon. This is often what ghost hunters will utilize.
Oh,
right?
that thing?
That sounds. I'm not sure what that thing is.
The fucking the meter.
Well, yeah, there's different types of
radioactive-
meters. Yeah,
you know what I'm
there's
talking
radioactive. There's radio, like radio frequency. All right, 3, 2, 1, we're back. Okay, so we were talking about what?
Ghosts.
Thank
And
you. Yes, the different meters.
Yeah.
I was just trying to say there are plenty of tools for that sort of thing, but electric voice phenomenon is something where you're able to pick up, like people record. You can literally download these apps on your phone even, where it records background noise that you don't hear anything, but then in the EVP you're getting voices. You're hearing things that are not actually there. And it's like that actually is a real thing. That's been proven. However, that doesn't mean it's a ghost. It doesn't mean it's things. There's very fascinating experiments that have been done where if you record something and you play the noise out in the room from a device and you wait, I believe this has been proven. I might be misquoting, but you can legitimately place a recording device again and hear what you played like before.
It's like an echo.
It's almost like it's almost like it's bouncing in the room, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's super quiet.
the voice.
A reverb.
Yeah, potentially.
I buy that.
But you can actually pick it up after the fact. And that's pretty fascinating. It's almost like going back in time or something and listening to a message.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the 2 cents is on how long that works for, whatever, but that'd be cool.
So
Josh, you should look that up.
what the fuck,
Give us
Josh?
some facts.
Yeah, Josh.
Off camera, what do you think happens when you die, man? No, nothing. No.
EVP.
Yeah. No. It's a weird one, right? It's a weird. I don't know, man.
I would like good things to happen.
Didn't you tell me that there's not a single civilization in our history that hasn't had some sort of deity to some degree, like had some sort of idea of a god? Like you go back to the
I don't know if I said that, but it sounds like
history
something I would say.
of mankind, and there's always been a belief system to some degree, whether it be like Greek philosophy at some point, right? Like there's always been the need for a belief.
I said that there was a quote. I forget what her name was, but she was a lady of some sort. She said, "If God did not exist, it would be necessary to invent one."
See? So what if maybe all of the 4,000 plus are just, ideas and stories and something just to kind of ease the uncertainty,
Well,
the fucking who knows.
I can say
That's
to you
uncomfortable.
that there's some fascinating facts about that. Since you wanted to get into theology, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you that there's some math that's been, I think, done in the relative, 13.7 billion years of the universe been around? Ish?
Yeah, ish.
We get the
All right.
universe expert over
Give or
here, so I'm
take,
asking him.
13.8.
Yeah, there you go, see?
Nice.
Missed that 0.1. Forgive me.
2.8 billion.
Yeah, supposedly that's how long
That's a lot.
the universe is, since the Big Bang, which apparently never happened. And you reading that too, Josh? Yeah.
The Big Bang.
The Big Bang.
So, do they have a sub theory? Sorry to throw you off.
Wait, so there was no Joseph and Mary?
Do you have
That's
a
not the
sub?
Big Bang.
Sorry. Fuck. Sorry.
You know what the Big Bang is.
Yes.
We'll know what the Big Bang is. Universe is born, right? Supposedly from a single point and expanded, and a very hot, energetic super point. And the expansion of the universe essentially has led to certain mathematical models and understandings in modern science. But with the James Webb Telescope that's gone out, there's been some new information that perhaps these models aren't exactly accurate. And that is due to the fact that we're seeing further into the universe than we ever used to. And I think the math doesn't really add up on how fast things are moving or what is going on exactly. And I'm not a scientist, I don't have the information in front of me, but I'm certain of the fact that I've read many things now stating this is like the biggest thing that's not being directly talked about. And there's some real problems with the Big Bang Theory. So what I'm getting at here is in that period of time that supposedly we've been around, whether or not that's even true, I think for the amount of things that had to come together to put us where we are right now is so phenomenally, like unproportionately wild that you can't even fathom it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's more likely that you're taking faith saying there isn't a God than saying there is one.
Like it's more likely that it's on purpose. Than
Yeah,
by
that
accident.
there's a designer creator. I think people get hung up on God as being the old fashioned like man in the sky watching over you and writing down your deeds. Like I think that's the problem. I think people don't like that, and there's a resistance to it. I think it's more of like, are we talking about what makes everything work, right? What's the governor?
Sounds like
of
simulation.
everything. Well, who's the simulator?
Well, that's it. That's exactly
right. Yeah. And Randy and I also, I think, touched on this. We were getting into it the other day.
Talked about quantum.
Quantum mechanics. And you know much about quantum?
Fascinating stuff.
So quantum mechanics at the tiny level, right? If you go under a microscope and you're going as small as you possibly can, and you look at things on that level, things don't behave exactly like they do in
our world.
Yeah.
Right.
And the reason I bring that up is because it all connects into possibly what happens to consciousness and how your thought interacts with reality.
That's cool.
Very, very cool. I love
It's
that.
so.
He didn't look like it was so cool until I said that. He was like, "What's quantum? I don't want to talk about that."
No.
Quantum. Isn't that a computer chip?
No, that's actually so cool, and it's interesting. So, I have this is like a question. You know how in the Bible, God says like, oh, if you don't, the point of believing is to believe, not for fact. You know, like he's like, I don't know.
I'm not sure what part of the Bible.
Telling me this as a kid because I asked questions, but basically like with God, like you just have to believe, like you don't like some of the details.
Don't question God.
Yeah,
He's listening.
isn't that part of? Yeah. Not know the Bible.
To tell you not to question, just believe.
Yeah. Just don't worry.
Believe.
Just believe.
Is that not anywhere in the Bible?
So I don't think so.
I know you watched the first one. You're gonna watch this.
What you might be getting at, I don't know what that was, but it was your crystal was under the rug there.
Oh,
What is that, rose quartz?
Bro, energies. That's where that went.
But look at all that random rock. So God, that never happened.
No, Randall. I think what happened was there may have been points in the Bible that kind of led to the fact that explaining what faith means, perhaps. And again, I'm not quoting specific scripture when I say this, but I think what your point you're trying to make is that there is a faith-based part of believing, which means you're not going to necessarily have
All the
100% proof or all the answers.
So and I think that right there is one of my favorite things. It's that when it comes to the real origin of our species, and I mean, you could expand that to say the universe and whatever, it goes on, life itself, we don't have an answer. So that's why we have created these ideas to just kind of give us a little bit of peace to think, okay, you know what, when we die, this is what happens because, you know, based on the story that we created. But the end truth is that we really don't fucking know. We have no idea what we are, where we're from, what we're doing here, and we're just kind of making it up as we go day to day, and we give ourselves a little bit of peace of mind, right? By creating.
It's actually pretty crazy. There's this thought often that goes into thinking about the way things work. If you think deep enough about it or hard enough about it, that you actually go crazy because you realize how insane it is that you're sitting here right now, like that, and like what created you and where did it come from, and like you really try to wrap your mind around it.
Yeah.
You really think about it. Where does it go?
Yeah.
And it goes to a pretty bonkers place. You literally, I often say my brain feels like it spins in a weird way when I do that, and I mean that. I feel like you can't comprehend it.
I watched a new documentary recently about infinity on Netflix. It came out, and another one of those things that just kind of makes you go fucking crazy when you think about it too much. And it's like infinity.
It's a lot.
There's so many in between numbers from 1 to 2, you know, and then you just do that because there's.
What do you mean?
1.0.
Oh, okay.
And like it's just the
infinite number. The multiverse is endless.
Endless, and therefore, you know, you could say the same about fucking life. And you said something really cool the other day about science right now studying how to live forever.
Oh,
which
sure.
I thought was really.
Yeah,
I
of
thought that
course.
was kind of
It's
cool.
always been
It's always
a study in
how
modern
do we
science.
fucking live forever, man?
fountain of
how do we
youth,
become immortal?
How did the vampires do it?
Yeah, right.
Right? They merge with machine, transhuman.
That's freaky.
Cyborg.
I don't like that stuff.
That's where we're going.
Honestly. Okay, but my question. Sorry, I've just been thinking. So, if faith is something that you have to have, and you may not have all the answers, right? Mm-hmm. I don't. Also, my mom said this. I don't know if this is also in the Bible, but you, in order to get into heaven, you have to.
I call ahead, get on the guest list. You're good.
You have to
Whose
like.
dick do you gotta
have
suck
to be.
to
You
get
have. I think we all know. You have to like. You can't like be like. This is gonna be maybe not a poor terminology, but a closeted Christian. You have to be outwardly Christian, right? So if you are a closeted Christian and you go to heaven, sorry for that term, but and you go to heaven, God will be like, no, like you didn't show people that you were Christian, so you're not allowed to get into heaven. I don't know. Is there any validity to that before I ask my...
Well, I mean, I think you're talking about one very specific religion, first of all.
Well, yeah.
True.
It's the one that...
What about the guys who don't believe in Jesus Christ?
Well,
Well, that's
they're going
good.
to hell, obviously.
That's good that there's a.
There's a lot of people that believe in like
That-
Buddha.
there's good-
and, like,
Yeah.
you know.
It's good that you brought that up
Sucks, I
because there are other religions. I do think that the major, like Judeo-Christian religions, may that's what I think he's trying to refer to. What he's familiar with.
All the bumbling and
I think that what you're getting at is if you're not like a true believer who's really
devout
accepted it
Christian.
in your heart, then
Yeah.
it doesn't count.
Yeah, yeah.
Perhaps.
Yes.
But I think that what that really means so like there's so many of these things that get taken at face value, in my opinion. I went to church when I was young. I was doing the Sunday school thing. I learned a lot about religion when I was young and grew up through questioning a lot of things. I'm a very deep thinker on these things, right? So I've had my time to kind of look into all sorts of stuff. And what I realize is a lot of the stuff that is taken at face value, these things that say, heaven and hell being an actual place that is, you have to follow these things verbatim and it's literal and all that. That's such a fail, in my opinion. It's really not so much literal in these weird magical sense that people are
I think the one
going on
cool
about.
thing is that, all of these different belief systems do have these sort of core, like, treat your neighbor right. Like really
Yeah.
all it is be a good
that's
fucking
the
person.
golden rule, right?
It's
Yeah.
really just like,
Yeah.
The belief that,
do unto others as you would have
treat people
do unto
nicely
yourself or
and don't
something.
fucking steal and don't be a dickhead and don't
Yeah.
murder people, like those are just kind of basic. It almost feels like laws more than anything.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Which is why it would be necessary to invent God.
Yeah,
That way-
maybe
that way,
but
before they had government,
were we
they
so
could-
savage before that we were just
Yeah,
like,
look at us now, man.
I mean, you can argue that, but I would
We're
also take the stance of if there is a God, right? If there is a creator or a higher power that had a beginning that was somehow communicated to people a long time ago, how would that be able to be discussed? Like, how would it be able to be passed on? How would it be able to be something that was discussed for, like, we've been talking about these stories for
ever.
a very long time.
Yeah.
And regardless of religion, there's very similar stories, things about
Mm-hmm.
blood, things about treat your neighbor as you want to be treated. Like, the rules are similar. The stories are similar in many cases. So what is that about? Like, why is that all
good question.
seemingly,
Yeah.
and why has that not just fallen by the wayside over thousands of years?
Aliens.
Well, it's like Zeitgeist.
Like, guys, yeah.
Zeitgeist, yeah. It's like that movie was about like how the major, or like not the major, but some of the major religions all kind of followed a similar pattern.
I also, funny enough, Zeitgeist was very interesting, thought-provoking.
Yeah.
I do feel like when I watched it, I was considering myself like a normal Christian believer.
Oh, how was your reaction to it?
Yeah, I mean, at the time I was quite shocked and thought, how can these things be true? And like,
Could
there's
be
got to
actually
be another
true.
thing to it, and so on and so forth, another side to it. So interestingly enough,
Part of it?
Yeah.
I came across explanations of a lot of the things in that to say
okay.
to debunk a lot of what is said in Zeitgeist, like the other side, basically the defense of religion and Christianity. They make a lot of claims in Zeitgeist that are not necessary. They're kind of stretched, and they're put in these lists often where, like, the list theory, where in these videos you get a list dropped where there's like, okay, it's the same as X, Y. All these things are the same. All of this, and blah blah blah. And they hit you.
Yeah.
They hit you with list after list with no time to process.
Right.
Who's stopping
Right.
and looking all of it up and verifying what did they mean. And when you take the time to do that, which I didn't do with everything, but with some of it I did because I was quite affected by. It's like I found it so like thought provoking, and at the time it really did shake me. And I feel like it was useful because I was able to kind of look at what this other side was saying. But I see that you can still argue both sides because there's a lot of bullshit in Zeitgeist.
Oh,
There
for
is.
sure.
That's fair.
Yeah, they're telling a story in a side, right? And there are exaggerations and things that don't really.
See, I
hold
find this is an interesting one too. Is that you look at us right now as a society, and then you go back to, say, our grandparents, where they, for the large majority, they did go to church every Sunday, and it was a very, like religion was practiced so much more regularly.
Yeah.
And then you look at us now, age of information. We went through it. We have the internet. Blah 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 blah. Everybody fucking gets to do their own research, and it feels to me, at least, that like it is sort of really phasing out and it's dying. Like I know probably a lot more agnostic or atheists than I do people who are practicing. And yes or no?
Yeah.
I
No.
mean,
No. Yeah.
like,
Josh
I
just made a
feel-
face.
Oh, and I just feel like that in itself goes to show, like, maybe with information and with access to being able to do your research, you slowly start to step back and question the validity of, is this Bible really all and everything? And I should live by this only. And like, when people can actually start to explore outside of that, you kind of start to step back a little bit. And
I mean, at the end of the day, discourse and deep thought and discussion around these things is a net positive, regardless of whether we become more or less religious or whatever, right? Like we want to continue to talk about it and continue to ask questions about it. But yeah, it is.
until we get the answers.
Yeah,
I will always wonder where the fuck I'm
It's like
from
the free market of ideas.
and how it all started. Like I want to know, and I'll always want to know, and I think everyone will always want.
Sure. So I will say to you though, saying that thing about more and more people are getting off of the traditional religions, perhaps is what you meant.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't disagree with the amount of information that's available to people now. I feel like people are more confident to try to make up their minds on their own, which it's not a bad thing. In the Bible, Jesus did, actually encourage people to do that and to question things and so on and so forth. And I argue that the Bible, like the Christian, he did. Yeah, your telling. Thanks. We've got a weird Gideon's version. The thing is, I believe that the Bible serves a great purpose, and it is a handbook. It is a book to live your life by, as probably a lot of potential religious texts are.
Basic instructions before leaving. What is
it's
it?
on
Bible
Earth, right?
basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that
Don't
wholeheartedly, anything that you can take out of the Bible or what you think to understand as like you think it's wrong or you can disprove it. Like I'm pretty sure I have an answer to it. As not as like not as this. I'm going to argue as like this is like
gospel.
No, not as so much as it's the gospel, but so much as it's this old fashioned way of thinking where it has to be like. Fire
Like,
and
at this
brimstone.
point,
And
we
heaven
know
and hell,
the
and
Earth
that's
was
it.
not created in 7 days and 7 nights.
Correct. Like that doesn't mean that 7 days and 7 nights thing was necessarily even translated
Could
to
have
the
been
same
steps.
degree that it was
Right.
now. There's a
Steps.
lot of translations and a lot of things that are arguable about versions of the Bible too, and about it wasn't written in English.
Just for sake of argument. So what you're basically saying is that the Bible isn't all. Don't take it verbatim.
I'm saying the reader
And-
has
yeah.
to digest it, and I think it's meant to be consumed like repeatedly, because I believe that the stories are very powerful and they serve as lessons and very interesting kind of guides to the way we live our life, and not always in direct ways. When we read things, we think this is face value. I disagree. I think there's much deeper meanings to the stories in the Bible, and I think that's why they are still having the impact they have. Not necessarily because it's like a magical spiritual thing, but because they're very profound. The stories that have been collected and put together in that book are special. And to those who want to believe it in the very traditional sense, so be it. I think that's dangerous if you don't look at other ways of interpreting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my way is right for sure, but to me, things make a lot more sense, and I would put that up against anybody who has an argument to bring to the table.
Have you ever touched the Quran at all?
Have I touched it?
Have
Like-
you
like-
ever
Have you touched
have
it?
you
I've touched
ever
one.
dabbled?
Maybe I've
Have you ever?
Yeah, I've read a lot
Yeah.
about it. Sure, I haven't read the Quran cover to cover, but I've definitely tried to understand what its differences are between Christianity and Islam, and I find that there's plenty of similarities. Right, there's a major difference though, a couple major differences.
Yeah.
Who wants another drink?
So you've touched a Quran.
I have. I'm still here.
Do they burn? Like Christians? Catholics?
Perhaps, maybe. I can tell you that honestly, the Quran is full of similar stories. It's different than the Bible, and obviously it's not the same. The major thing being, the way they see the prophet system and saying that Jesus was a prophet but not the Messiah. That's the major difference between Islam and Christianity. Is Christians believe Jesus died on the cross, atonement, paid for your sins. He's the kind of savior, and we're fallen. We're all broken people, and we all ultimately need to be like redeemed and saved.
So
He died for you, like he paid the price, ultimate price. So all you have to do is believe that and understand that you need to surrender,
which
like,
is the Christian.
Is the Christian thought, which
so
is
the Quran.
The Quran is different in the sense that Jesus didn't die in that manner, and they don't look at Jesus as the Messiah. They don't look at him as he died on the cross and paid the ultimate price.
So it's similar in that sense to Judaism.
Yeah, a lot of to be
Okay.
quite honest, there's plenty of things there that are similar to Judaism. Yes, in the first half of the Bible in the Old Testament, but the Quran didn't come together until much after the Gospels and things like that started to be put together. Anyways, I don't want to get into
It's
too
weird
much
that
history about
the
that.
three is. Would you say that those are? I don't know. Would you say those are the three largest religions of the world?
Judaism, Islam, and Christianity?
Yeah.
I think so.
Isn't it kind of noteworthy that all three of them talk about Jesus, even if he did or didn't do what they said that the Christians said that he did? Isn't that an interesting idea? I don't know.
I mean, maybe. I'm not sure how much Jews talk about Jesus, though. That's
That's fair, yeah. No, but just that he existed at least, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was referenced.
I'm not saying
the
that he
Torah
was,
is about like the early Old Testament, right? Jesus wasn't around in that time,
yeah.
but there's a lot about the story of creation and things like that are very similar in many of them too. I think there are lessons to be learned, and I think there are profound things that wanted to be shared in different cultures and different things, because it really speaks to your spirit as a man. And there are so many things that are in the Bible that I feel like, oh boy, did they ever hit hard. And honestly, I got to give it to Jordan Peterson for a lot of his explanations of books of stories in the Bible are so good, so profound. I would definitely say listen to some of that if you want a different take on the traditional ways it's interpreted.
How many times have you read the Bible?
I don't know if I can put a number on that. It's not like I've read the Bible in
Cover to
sittings
cover.
from cover to cover.
That's fair.
I think I've read
a lot.
parts of the Bible countless times, but from start to finish, I don't know if I've ever in succession, read it from start to finish.
I tried to do it once. I did not get far.
I know it is difficult, man. There are some parts where you get confused.
Yeah, that's what I found.
And you're like, what's happening right now?
Yeah.
Who's the father of who here?
Yeah, because it's like old English, and you're like,
Yeah, well, there are different versions of the Bible that make it a lot easier to understand. But then you worry, like, are you getting the?
well, and to be honest, that's my kind of quarrel
What's your biggest quarrel?
with the Bible is that it's the King James King James edition.
What's the problem there?
That he could have changed it. That he probably did.
That King
change
James could have changed it.
it. or his subordinates or whoever. It could have been changed. It realistically probably was. Like, why is there a King James? Why not just
how many times was
first
it
edition?
translated alone?
It's translated many times, but there are original copies of
There
the
are
Bible.
original
Yeah,
copies
and
of the Bible?
you've heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls?
I have not.
No.
No.
Oh man.
I've never heard of
Sounds
the Dead
so
Sea
dramatic. There are
Scrolls.
people that
sounds
haven't
like
heard
some
of it.
Pirates of the Caribbean shit.
Yeah, you need to look this shit up, man.
So
I mean,
you have to learn
Go on a treasure hunt.
Latin.
There are, I think,
What's
museums, and I think it's the Bible was written in like ancient Greek and or Hebrew.
Hebrew. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. In any case,
And it's similar.
what do you mean?
Like the
Greek
King
and
James
Hebrew?
edition is similar
Oh,
to the.
yeah. I think there's plenty of things that have been verified and potentially things that can be verified, anyways.
Okay.
And I think there's general agreement amongst scholars and historians that it's fairly accurate. So although it may not be certain, like you could argue that certain words or things have been translated the wrong way or something's been changed. And I would argue that, that's a possibility. But I think you also need to look at why that would be and what specifically the reason for that would be. Like, why are we changing bits and pieces but not
But
others?
I mean, again, you get back to maybe you were living in a time where people just really needed something to believe in, and therefore these could really just be stories. You know, it really could just be an author saying, "Hey, I'm going to write this story," and hopefully people get a lesson out of it.
I would argue
which
to
is
you on that though, and say that you can that makes sense in
different
theory in this
than-
day and age, but back when the Bible was put together, especially the New Testament and the Gospels, as they're often referred to, Jesus, in general, like was killed and executed because he was, supposedly looked at as somebody who was claiming to be who he was, and I think as a result, it's not like there's a story about, hey, believe this, and people were being persecuted for believing.
But and that's all cool and groovy. But I mean, we're talking about,
That's true.
But and that's great. But we're talking about the very, very small history of mankind. I mean, we're literally, we base our year right now, 2022, AD, right?
After death.
After death. So like literally, we are basing right now our current fucking society on the idea that held some sort of fucking very real.
Yeah.
And obviously it did, because we're living in the year 2022. What happened before that? What happened before Jesus was ever showed up? Like, you know what I mean? God,
it is a good,
God would still have been there,
Yeah.
whatever that or he or they may be.
Yeah,
They
the
were
Bible
still
has
there.
plenty of those
You know what I
stories.
mean? Like, there's a long history of our species that we're just saying, no, it started here. But it's like, what about before everything else? Like,
Do we know
we were
when
still
they
here.
started?
We have. When was the first artifact ever of mankind? Like the first fucking wall.
Painting?
Right. Yeah.
I think he means
Yeah.
what's the first modern anything,
Josh,
like
look that up.
modern, like writing or and that's like the Sumerian stuff. Like,
Right.
But that
and
could
like,
be anything. That could be like a dagger head. That
Actually, there is a site in Turkey, I believe,
Yes.
something called Göbekli Tepe. It's a old megalithic site. Estimated that it's like 7,000 years older than Stonehenge.
in
Wow.
the
Potentially.
jungle, right?
Potentially, yeah.
That's
In the
amazing.
jungle.
So then,
yeah.
Yeah,
so
a little
then,
wonky.
who goes to say that, like, they didn't have their own version of, a God and a Jesus Christ or a,
Yeah,
some
it's
sort of
possible,
savior
but the
at that
Bible,
point,
funny enough, the Bible does not state that there couldn't have been things like that. There's a lot of history in that first half that kind of talks about how things got, like the creation of the world was there, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly, this whole fall of man thing is the whole Garden of Eden story, which you know, a lot of people take issue with because they think it's sexist. I think that it's fascinating.
Why is it sexist? Because the rib? She comes
Because
from
it was the woman that was
She ate
tempting
the apple.
man.
Oh,
She ate the apple, bro.
true.
And so the corruption of knowing and whatnot forever changed man. That's the idea. The knowledge, right? The information,
God damn it.
which does corrupt you.
See,
'cause
doesn't that
once
also
you know
go back
things,
to
you
the
can't unknow
don't
it.
ask questions because that's bad?
No, I think ignorance is bad too.
Well, yeah,
It is
that's,
bad. They
That's
say
what I'm
ignorance
saying.
is bliss, but I think it's also ignorant and just doesn't benefit civilization.
No, I agree with that 100%. But yeah,
Elon Musk wouldn't be a fan of ignorance.
Ignorance.
well then I must not be ignorant.
No.
Ignorance is bliss
Don't
to the
offend the
ignorant.
Musk. Huh?
You made
Ignorant
it.
is bliss to the ignorant, I think.
Yeah,
Like,
it's,
to
well,
the
it
ignorant person is the one who's...
it can be
Yeah,
bliss.
it's not bliss to anyone else.
it's
Everyone
not
else is like, dude,
ignorance
open
is
your eyes.
fucking gross.
Yes.
No,
but, like,
it is.
if someone's getting the
ignorance is
shit kicked
bliss.
out of them in that room over there,
Right.
right, and we're just ignoring it, and we're like, well, anything could be going on.
Yeah.
We are
You know,
just
like-
sitting here being like,
Oh, this is a great time.
I don't know anything. That could have that yelp could have been anything. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I
a
don't
dog
hear anybody
getting
screaming
put
for
against
help.
the wall.
Yeah. What?
No.
No.
And
I'm just-
I think
She
ultimately,
stubbed her toe.
who does it benefit by us not looking in the room, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then that's bliss for us.
That's
and
the
not
only
for-
thing we know.
For them.
Only thing we know
Is that we don't fucking know, man.
Well, and that's
Clearly.
it. I think we're not supposed to have all the answers. I
Yeah.
think the
Yeah,
answers
that's a
don't always
cool point.
give you what you think you get. You don't always, like, power leads to corruption often. And this is the problem. This is the whole, like, again, that deep meaning of knowledge and what you're getting from it. And too much of it, like, builds up the ego and the power and self-destructs. Like, it's a very interesting balance within the universe that eventually, when the scale goes too far one side, it tips. And it's very, very amazing and fascinating. I think, man, what a crazy thing. And we didn't really answer the question on what happens when you die.
No, I don't
I
think
tell
any of
you,
us have
black.
a fucking very good...
No,
yeah.
I would like-
I have
to
the
go
best theory I've heard is something along these lines. And this is a fascinating thought. Just hear this out anyways. I don't know if this is what I believe, but I'll tell you and then we'll maybe finish. Which is the whole story about telling you, like, to believe in a religion or a God or things like that exists because if you truly do, if your consciousness, like, as a person, has the power to interact and manifest, right, with reality, if you are helping co-create your own transmission, so to speak, when you die, right, the illusion of death may also be part and parcel to your own belief system.
Yeah.
Like, what you truly believe subconsciously and consciously.
Yeah, you manifest your own afterlife.
Right.
Something, yeah.
And so the thought of religion may have been designed to prevent people from screwing themselves over.
Yeah.
If you believe in
That's
a
cool.
heaven and you have a whole story that goes along with it,
Yeah.
you have a much better chance of manifesting it,
Yeah, that's cool.
right?
That's cool.
Whereas if you don't know and you're stirring with this, what's going to happen to me? I'm worried. Could I be erased? Could I be
Right.
put in hell?
Right.
Fuck, I did some bad things, you know?
Yeah.
Psychic medium told me, my grandma saw me do it. So, someone else might have saw. I feel like it's actually a really interesting thing.
I like that.
And the deeper we get, if we get into another episode about quantum physics after you read up on it a bit, I can school you on that. But what's interesting is there are real experiments being done. The Nobel Peace Prize that just got given out, actually.
Oh, that guy.
That we're doing
him on a video.
experiments proving
I
that
keep up.
that your thoughts interact with these things, and it's
That's
fucking
beautiful.
wild, man.
That's poetic.
It's crazy,
That was an interesting thought.
you know.
I like that.
Alberto Einstein liked to use the word spooky. Came to this sort of stuff. Spooky action.
He's a smart man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm much smarter. But
Yeah, he's interesting. Where is the modern Albert Einsteins, by the way?
But we have a lot of them.
Where
Maybe
are
that's
they
what
though?
it
Why
is.
don't we hear?
They're in
Where
Area
are they?
51
What are they coming
talking-
up with?
They're talking to the aliens.
What's Bob Lazar doing? Yeah, I just feel like they don't have the same impact. Like Albert Einstein, we're still talking about him, left, right, and center about his theories.
Stephen
100 years
Hawking.
later,
He was like Albert
Stephen
Einstein.
Hawking.
was he though?
I think so. Yeah.
Like his theory of gravity is
Yeah, but he was old. He didn't have the internet and shit, man. Look at his hair. He was a weird
The
guy.
singularity.
Yeah, but he also
He also helped
like
create the
was,
nuclear
was,
bomb.
He
But
was
also keep in mind, he was one of the first people to actually have those.
yeah.
He was
Yeah.
a revolutionary scientist, thinker.
Yeah,
all
and he
that.
also wanted people to challenge his ideas. And
Yeah,
like,
he
he was
was-
like,
he was a
I
smart
could be
cookie.
wrong on this.
Mark
You know,
Cookie,
yeah.
no question.
Yeah.
And
Makes
we'll
me
get into the
realize how-
nuclear bombs, I guess, on the next episode. Excited to talk to you about that one.
Be excited for that.
It's
Hopefully
so
we're still here.
fascinating of what happens.
Nuclear is relevant right now.
now.
It's very, very relevant.
Yeah,
it's-
I don't think
it's-
people
it's
understand
all around
the
us all the
destruction
time.
either.
I don't.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it. I
I'm-
took my time to learn about it, and it's fucking terrifying. It really is.
Yeah.
It's not something that you could ever imagine. Just think of this thought. Should I just keep extending this? But it's fascinating. Yeah, soon. Just think of this thought. The nuclear, the twin towers that went down, right?
Oh, it's another fucking episode.
No. But just think of this.
I don't even think it happened at all.
Twin towers
Don't
go
get me
down.
started on 9/11.
And I can assure you they happened. The Twin Towers go down, and how much of an impact that made in the world, and how much of destruction that was, and how much we talk about it and affected
was
things.
from a
And it
couple
was
airplanes.
a couple buildings and airplanes.
Yeah.
Man, if a fucking nuke went off in a
Right.
big city,
Yo, that'd be whack.
the destruction
That'd be whack, yo.
is on a scale.
We'd still be feeling it.
Okay,
Like
real quick.
we would
Can't
still.
No.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
we finish up,
Inconceivable.
let's say nuke drops New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far does it reach?
So
We'll
it
feel
would
it.
it depends on
Would we feel
the megaton kiloton blast. So the way they measure nuclear bombs is in these explosions are compared to tons of TNT. This is the common term. So they say 10 kilotons is 10,000 tons of dynamite being exploded. 10,000 tons, right? A ton being 1,000
That's
pounds.
a lot.
10,000 tons of dynamite.
Yeah. Wow. Fuck.
And the ones they dropped in Hiroshima were about 15 kilotons. That boy. Okay. So the ones that they have now and the ones that the biggest bomb ever tested, like Russia, the King bomb, the Tsar bomb, or Tsar, I don't even know how to say it. I'm not Russian. But I will say that was 100 megatons. 100 megatons. Like, do you understand that?
What's a megaton?
Just like kilobyte and megabyte, right? Think of that.
Yeah.
1,000 kilobytes is 1
10,000.
megaton.
Super ton.
So you're looking at hundreds of times stronger than what they dropped on Hiroshima.
That's insane.
Fuck.
And so the blast radius of something of likely what they would use on a big city
Oh my
would
god.
probably be something like 10 megatons or so, or megatons.
This is actually a cool segue to have spent this episode talking about death. And now
It is.
I know. I don't
I
want
love
to.
that. That's crazy.
How many megatons do you think it would take to crash the simulation?
Whoa.
Like to destroy the earth.
No, to crash to when you play a video game and the game crashes because you do like.
I didn't even
8
answer
things
you
at
on
once.
how far the blast went.
Oh yeah, I know, but I just have so many
The
questions.
blue circle of death.
Okay. How far? How far the blast?
So
100 megatons.
100 megatons. That's you're vaporizing everything in a 30-mile radius. Vaporizing. No, this is a
Vaporizing.
fact. Yeah, vaporizing meaning like you're melting concrete and all that, like just vaporizing into gas.
That's fact.
And people would just die instantly. that are
I'm
near
not
that.
laughing
So
because
that's
I think
no
that's
pain
funny.
to
I'm
that.
laughing 'cause I'm uncomfortable.
But then you're going up to 300 miles in terms of damage. Like so 300 miles not kilometers. That's like 400 kilometers. You're destroying. That's from here halfway to
0.6.
Timmins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking huge.
That's like 500. Yeah.
That's a bomb.
And
that
that's
you
in
do
every
not want
direction.
dropped.
That's a
so
radius.
that's burning.
Yeah, that's bad. Now, I don't think, supposedly there's no bombs of that size in existence anymore. Not even close, supposedly. The biggest ones that the U.S. So they have all these programs that verify this. Like, again, you could argue that, like, oh, there's some bullshit there.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things in place to verify what exists. And supposedly the biggest ones now are like 25 megatons. 50 megatons maybe in Russia. They've got these submarines.
Does that scale per megaton? So like 100 megatons is vaporized in 30 miles, and then 25 would be 7.5 miles?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fucked.
And then
There's a website
Not
you
to
can
mention
go
the
to and put in
nuclear
all the
after
things, and it
effect,
shows you on the map exactly what happens.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's pretty freaky.
I wonder if
because you got the after effect of
Just
nuclear,
trying to figure out what do you
right?
think?
How long does that fucking last?
Yeah, so
That's-
the biggest thing
like
is
that-
this,
that's-
right?
that's
Like
there
you get,
for
so
fucking-
if we ever get bombed, one of the big things you must know
Yeah.
is that for the next like 24 hours after the blast, so like 48 hours up to even a week, you're gonna get nuclear fallout, like invisible radiation that's falling from the cloud.
The radiation, right?
And that-
Invisible.
Invisible, like you don't see it, you don't know what it is, you don't feel
that's
it.
not good.
That's what's killing you. If that shit gets on your skin, the whole
Right.
decontamination.
But it lasts a lot longer than
Is
a
that
week.
just
oh
right?
well,
Like,
there's
it's
other
in-
types
if
of
the
radiation,
is-
yes, but the immediate threat is like the immediate nuclear fallout that falls down.
Hiroshima, actually, I saw the other day that it's
You want to
been-
stay
it's-
hidden for a
it's
couple
since
days
been,
inside, basically. Don't go outside.
Is that like you'll feel it like raindrops on your?
I don't know.
You
if
won't see it.
I don't know if you'll feel it like raindrops, but
Not like feel it like
You don't
it's
feel it.
raining. It's
no, it's
raining.
radiation. You won't even know it's there until
Oh,
it's
okay.
killing you.
Until it's.
Like,
Pardon?
It's not like when
No.
a volcano erupts, you feel
Yeah, not like that. No.
radiation
a-
you can't see, right?
The nuclear fallout, it would be like it would get into your skin. You
Correct.
would feel it until
Correct.
it starts to
Start to kill your cells. Yeah.
Okay.
So the moral of the story is, if a bomb like that goes off, don't go outside and wander
stay-
around. You might be tempted to, and if you do, wash yourself down immediately afterwards and cover up and stay inside. Anything that's out there that you touch is problematic in the immediate like aftermath of a blast.
It's crazy.
Seems like a good
teach
place
you.
to end it.
I teach you how to survive. Don't worry. Stay tuned, guys. What do we know? We know nothing.
We know
Except
nothing.
how to survive nuclear fallout.
All right. It was a pleasure, boys.
It has
Cheers,
been.
guys.
All
Thank
right,
you
cheers.
so much.
Josh,
This is so fun.
appreciate
Yes,
you.
Thank you, Josh.
All right. To the next one.
Cheers.
Ignition sequence start.